Now, the sleepers. The arrival of the railway track network in India also paved way for the massive destruction of the forests. The oak forests in England were started to get disappearing because they were used in a large number to build the ships which used to be necessary to carry the loads from India to the other countries and also to maintain the Royal Navy ships. It has become very difficult for them to supply timber for the Royal Navy. So, to find a substitute for this, the Britishers have sent search teams in 1820s to find out in India, because India has large amount of forest in existence. So, find out whether the timber is available there or not. Yes, the search teams arrived to India, found that in India we have huge amount of timber available. So, immediately the orders were given to cut down the timber trees and export the timber from India to England. So, that's how the Royal Navy's necessities were being started to be fulfilled, and in India the deforestation started officially. As the time passed on, now the demand or the necessity to have a well connected transport system from the hinterlands to the outer parts. So, we have ships, there is supply of this timber for the ships. Within the inner lands or the hinterland regions to the port areas, we need to have a good connectivity. So, they started to lay the railway tracks. In the process of laying the railway tracks, we need a track known as sleepers between the tracks to hold both the tracks together. So, the sleepers we need for every mile, we need 1700 to 2000 sleepers which connect both the tracks together. So, for this we need again timber trees. So, in order to lay the tracks, we need the sleepers first. So, for having sleepers, they started to cut down the trees again in large number. So, by 1850s, the need for the railway network, fuel and the line holders, sleepers are required. For this all, the basic source is the timber trees. So, in 1890, 25,500 kilometers of railway track is laid, and it went on up to 1946, it is 7,65,000 kilometers of railway track lines has been laid down, which shows how much amount of trees are cut. Only in 1850, in Madras Presidency, nearly 35,000 timber trees were cut. So, the huge downfall of the timber trees started to because of the Britishers. One, because of to supplement the oak forests which are getting disappeared in England. To substitute that, search teams were sent to India to find out. They came to India, they have done the research, and from here timber started to be exported to other country, especially England, to match the requirements of Royal Navy ships. And later they started to build the railway network in India. So, in order to connect both the railway tracks, they need the railway line help sleepers which are made of timber, and nearly 1760 to 2000 for every mile. So, all these facilitated for the disappearance of the forests. Plantations. A large piece of land will be cleared to grow a special or a particular crop on a very large scale, that is known as plantations. In this process of making plantations, the British governments, the colonial British government, encouraged to destroy the forest and give that vast land for the European planters at very less cost in order to meet the requirements of the European continent. As there is a growing need and demand for tea, coffee and rubber, they gave orders to clear the entire forest, which is in a very vast stretch expanded in India. So, they gave orders to clear that one, and that land is given to the European traders at a very considerable cost, so that they can cultivate the crop, and from here they can export it to their country, and from there they can earn huge profits. So, this idea of plantations also paved the way for clearing the forest and helping hand for deforestation. Now, the rise of commercial forestry. The British need forests in India. British started to get worried with the disappearance of the forest in our country. If you recover back, or if you look at the back in the initial days of the lesson, that is in the first part of the lesson, Britishers were the first people to encourage deforestation. But when we look at the reasons, why did the Britishers encourage them to do deforestation? They are finding the disappearance of oak forests in England. So in order to compensate the balance of that disappearance, they have sent the search teams to come to India and find out the trees which can replace and match up the requirements of what they require. The teams have arrived to India, found that timber is the best suitable fund for them, and they gave the reports, and timber has been started to be cut from India, and that is being sent to England to match up the requirements of the Royal Navy to build the ships and later for railway sleepers. Now, as the days pass on, the cutting down of the trees is not only official, but it is given to the private contractors at very less cost. So the local people also started to cut down the trees in order to have their own charcoal wood, or they want to clear the forest, or they want to do the agriculture, or whatever may be the reason. So this felling down of the trees at a very high rate started to worry the Britishers. So to find out a solution for this, they have invited an expert from Germany known as Dietrich Brandis. He was an expert and he was asked to come to India and to give some solution or some suggestion to safeguard the forests of the country. So he was the first Inspector General of Forests in our country in India, and he came and said that we need a system in place. We need a set of rules that have to guide how the forest should be there, how the cutting down of the trees should happen. Everybody could not cut the trees. Only the authorized people only can cut the trees. And if anyone violates these rules, they are eligible for punishments. They have to be given severe punishments so that the others do not indulge in violation of the rules. So he also gave an idea to set up Indian Forest Services in 1864, and he started a Indian Forest Services Act in 1865. He also established a research institute at Dehradun in 1906 to study about the Indian forest system. He also gave a new concept of scientific forestry. What is a scientific forestry? What was his intention in giving this idea or developing the concept of scientific forestry?
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.